Dennis Young here, Primitive Substance. Thanks for everybody coming on. Another great special guest, John French. Everybody knows, a lot of people know Captain Beefheart, Drumbo, one of the original drummers of the band. And this is part two. And this time, John, we're going to talk about your solo career and all that type of music you've done. So, John,
Okay.
thank you for coming on.
Sure. Yeah, glad to be here.
So,
Uh,
when did you exactly leave Beefheart? What was the year that, is there a time period that you remember?
1980.
Oh, wow, that's right.
Yeah.
So you came back and to do another record, I assume, right?
Right. Yeah. Dock at the radar station.
Right, right. I have that. So let's
And
talk. Go
the
ahead.
interesting thing is, and you can delete this if you want to.
Sure. No, I don't care. Go
I'd like
ahead.
to I'd like to get this in there.
Sure, go ahead.
I went through quite an interesting period just before I did Dock at the radar station, but a year before, I was going through the end of a really bad marriage.
Okay.
And I got to the point to where I was suicidal,
Oh my gosh.
and I actually had um, uh, this woman that I knew had a gun, and she was I can't remember. Oh, she went on a vacation, and she didn't want to leave the gun at the house because there were kids there, younger kids.
Right.
So she asked me if I'd watch it for her.
Oh boy.
So I loaded it up and had it cocked up to my head. I mean,
Wow.
it was this close.
Oh my
And
gosh.
a guy knocked on my door, and I went and answered the door to see who it was. And this guy had come over. He wanted me to join his group, and he had his little kid with him. She
Hmm.
was about maybe 3 or 4, and he introduced me to his. I'd never seen his kid before, and it just completely changed my whole perspective on everything. Seeing this kid,
Okay.
right? Well, um, but I knew, and afterwards he left after about an hour, and I walked back into the room where that gun was sitting there, loaded,
Oh
and
my gosh.
and I couldn't believe that I'd come that close. I couldn't believe it. So what happened was I kind of went on a spiritual quest,
Hmm.
sort of by accident. I walked into a Bible study
Oh my
by
gosh.
accident. By accident. I didn't want to be there. And as soon as I walked in, I went, oh my God, because there were a bunch of
Yeah.
people. And I'd had a horrible emotional day, really bad day.
Hmm.
And I'd gone out in the desert just to be secluded and alone. And I started praying. And the only thing I got out of it was fear not.
Hmm.
I got the words fear not. It just came to me. So, anyway, so I walk into this Bible study 6 hours later by accident. They were friends of mine, good people who had helped me a lot. And there was only one place to sit, right in the middle of the room,
Oh my God. That's funny.
on the
Wow.
floor. So I sat down and they say, so how you been, John? And I go, huh, huh. And I just broke down.
Wow. That.
And these people started praying for me. They just,
Oh,
you know, came came around me.
oh man.
And this one girl put her hand on my head. She raised her other hand up and she said, fear not.
Hmm.
And I just went, what?
Oh my gosh.
Because it was
Yeah.
so odd. But then, I started working with Don again on his last album. I'm sorry to get emotional about that
Hmm.
just now, but it's a hard thing for me to talk about.
Hmm.
Anyway, I started working with Don on the last album. The whole time I'm working on the album with him, I'm telling him about my experiences that I've had
Yeah.
and what I've been learning and how different I was. Because I walked out of there that night. I walked
Mm,
into the place completely crushed, and I walked out so happy. I mean, it was
mm.
like I was drunk almost.
Wow.
It was like I was on LSD or something. And this was like, what? Thank
Jeez.
God, thank you. And
Wow.
the reason I
Something.
bring this up is because, this guy just got shot last week,
Right, right.
Charlie Kirk. And I admired a lot of what he had to say. He was trying to, he was putting himself on the line and talking to these college kids and stuff,
Mm,
and trying to explain, where he was coming from, but he'd listen to them. And I thought, well, God, he's trying to open a dialogue here. And
yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool that he was doing this because, man, he ran into some really, he had people challenging him to duels and all this stuff.
Oh my gosh.
But he
Yeah.
sat there and did this, and he was 31 when he got shot, and killed, and shot him right through the neck
Oh,
and severed his cervical uh, spine. Anyway, it got me thinking about all this stuff that I'd gone through.
yeah.
Because he's a Christian, I'm a Christian. Anyway, I had some other experiences like this uh, afterwards. For instance, after my child was born,
Yeah.
we were driving one day on the freeway. My wife and my daughter was in the back seat and child seat, and I'm driving the car. It's a little Ford Escort, all I could
Mm,
afford back then. And we're driving, and I'm in the fast lane because it's a weekend. It's a Saturday. Traffic's really, mild, hardly any traffic. And all of a sudden, I hear a voice in my head, sort of like telepathy. It's sort of the best way I can explain it is to say, when you have a thought pattern that you don't recognize, you know, it
yeah.
wasn't my thoughts. It was like, what?
Coming in.
And what I heard was pull over 2 lanes now, because I was in
Mm,
the fast lane, right?
right.
So without even looking, basically, I just pulled over 2 lanes because I had been watching the traffic. I'm really good about that. And I knew that I was clear to do that.
Mm,
So I pulled over 2 lanes, and just as I pulled over, a huge lamp from the other side of the freeway,
holy smoke.
it was kind of shaped like this,
Yeah.
you know,
Okay.
it fell down. The lights here in the middle of the freeway, it sort of fell down from the other side, crossed
Wow.
over the divider,
Yeah.
and landed in the 2 lanes next to me.
Jeez.
And I drove by. I just,
Yeah.
it was so fast. It was like
Mm,
I pulled over. My wife looked at me and was going to say, "Why are you pulling over?" And all she got was the crash. And if that would have hit us, the way it was angled,
mm,
it would have gone right through the windshield. And I could feel, it bouncing on the road through the tires and the springs and everything.
yeah.
I could feel it bouncing on the road. That sucker was heavy. It would have gone right through the windshield.
Oh my.
Probably killed Donna and I.
Mm,
I think Jesse might have lived. Our daughter might have lived.
yeah.
But
Oh.
anyway, I had a lot of experiences like that.
Well, you got a destiny to still live. There's
Yeah,
something saying you have a destiny to keep going. That your
yeah, exactly.
time wasn't ready yet. You weren't ready to go.
Yeah.
That
Uh,
is something.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. And there were other things, just miraculous things that happened that I just went. I mean, the way my wife and I got together,
Mm,
um, a lot of things that happened during that period of time. But Don kind of caught me at the beginning of that. He needed a guitarist, actually. I
okay.
didn't play drums on that. Well, I
Oh, you
did
did.
play drums
Okay.
on a couple of things, but mostly I was playing guitar, the other guitar part, with Jeff Morris Tepper.
Mm,
At that time, he was still Jeff Tepper, and then he became Morris Tepper later. And Eric Drew Feldman
mm,
and Robert Williams played the drums on, everything except two songs. I played
mm.
on two things. Uh, but during that period of time, Don was just kind of like,
I was
what's,
going to ask you, what was his state of mind at that point?
well, I was like praising God for stuff and had all this jubilance. I was so happy. I
Mm,
was just happy. And I was glad to be doing this for him because I felt like it was a chance for him to see who I'd become, you know,
right.
because I was a different person. When I walked out of that Bible study that night, I was different. And I can't explain how it happened. I just know that there was something that transformed in me. I
Mm,
studied about it later, but I'm not going to go into
yeah.
details of
But
all that. But anyway, uh, we wound up in a couple of spots where little things happened. Like one night
mm,
we were driving back, and Don had forgotten to get gas, which he was really good at forgetting.
yeah.
He was very absent-minded. Pardon me.
That
And so we were driving, and Victor Hayden, his cousin, the mascara snake guy,
right.
was in the back of the car. And we're driving along back, and he goes, "Man, I'm out of gas." And
Mm,
every gas station he went by, because it was late,
yeah.
closed, and he's going, "What are we going to do?" And I said, "God's going to give us a place to get gas, He'll he's going to show us a place where we can get gas." And so all of a sudden, this big American flag
Mm,
is over this gas station, and it's open. It's got lights flashing on it and all this stuff, and it's on the Antelope Valley Freeway, which is going towards Lancaster.
okay.
We were about halfway home, but he was running on fumes.
Oh my gosh.
And so I said, "There's a gas station." And
Oh, that's funny.
Victor in the back seat goes, "Well, praise America."
Oh, that's great.
He didn't want to say
Oh,
God, but it was one of those moments that kind of typified what it was like during that period of time.
oh
And
my
I had a
gosh.
pretty good time with the album. I did get into one shouting match with one of the guys in the band because I was under a lot of pressure to learn this stuff, and I hadn't played guitar much
Mm,
for a few years, so I was a little rusty.
right.
Uh, anyway, that takes me into the next part of this, which is after I did that stuff, then I went into working with Henry Kaiser.
Right. I know Henry. He's something.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's some artist.
Um, now when I was working with him, I had gotten a job. I'd scored a steady gig in a jazz club.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was playing standards on Friday and Saturday nights, and then I was playing jazz on Sunday night. And it was enough to pay the bills, you know.
Right.
And this is when I got married, right around this time I got married. And so I was playing jazz. Every Sunday I was playing straight jazz,
Hmm.
bebop and contemporary, whatever. And we do a little bit of rhythm and blues because people wanted to dance.
Mm.
So we'd throw on a rhythm and blues song every now and then, you know. But I was playing constantly. And on my days off, I was practicing a lot. So
Okay.
I probably sharpened my skills and probably my best, some of my best playing came out of that era of time.
Mm.
But um, Henry called me or got in touch with me somehow. Oh, I called him just to say,
Okay.
and he said, "Well, I've got this band. I want you to meet this guy." And so he brought this bass player up to my house, Andy West, and
Okay.
Andy had played bass for the Dixie Dregs.
Oh, okay. I know those guys. Of
Yeah,
course.
he's one of he played with a pick, which a lot of
Mm.
bass players, they play with a thumb
Right,
and they
right.
use two
Yep.
fingers, but he actually played with a pick, and um, he played a 5, 6 string bass. He had this beautiful bass that had been custom made with a graphite neck and all this stuff.
Oh,
I can't remember the company, but anyway, um, Henry said, "I want to start a band. We've got a band going called Crazy Backwards Alphabet,
yeah, I
CB.
love it.
You know,
Great
you,
name.
you heard him talk about that probably.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. So anyway, um, he had a drummer, a Swedish guy that was playing, but he wanted a drummer who could play American dates, so he didn't have to fly this guy because
Yeah.
of the
Huh.
expense. So I said, okay. So we did this album together, and it came off okay. It wasn't really my cup of tea because I liked, I was used to working for weeks and weeks on an album. And these guys wanted to put stuff together in days,
Mm.
a few days. So it was, the music wasn't as intense.
Okay.
Um, but I enjoyed working with Andy. He was a really, really great bassist. And we also got a guy named Bob Adams who wrote some stuff and also was part of the group. And we did 2 albums. I don't know what happened to the second one. I don't know if it was ever released.
Mm.
Henry sent me the recordings of it a while back, but a lot of the stuff was improv.
Oh, okay.
You know? So, and I was trying to turn it. I was trying to do songs, but they were doing instrumental improvs, and I
Mm.
was putting vocals on some of this stuff. So it was a little confusing. We did a great version of LaGrange.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
I must have.
it had Michael Maximenko, the Swedish drummer.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's sung in Russian.
Oh, that's better yet.
He's saying the lyrics in Russian, but otherwise it's ba 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 ba, the whole thing. And so we got together and did a second album where Michael came over, and I don't think it was released for a while. But anyway, that was the beginning of working with Henry again.
Hmm. Henry something. He's just up to such incredible different tones and sounds and improv and a lot of spontaneity. I feel Henry's about.
Yeah, he some of my favorite stuff that he's done is stuff where he's just improvising by himself without even a group, you know, because he comes up with such great sounds. Have you seen his quarterly show that he
Oh
does?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So you know about that.
Oh yeah.
Played on one of those. What was it? I can't think of the name of it. It was a cover of a Rod Stewart song, a
Hmm.
Faces song.
So
Um,
So how did you hook up with the improv master Fred Frith, and then you have the guitar icon Richard Thompson and
Uh,
Henry? How did that
that was
happen?
that was Henry. Also, he called me and he said, "There's this guy named Richard Thompson." Now, I'd never heard of Richard Thompson. I'd heard of Fred, and I'd met
Yeah.
Fred when he was playing with Henry Cow in France. I met him in
Oh,
1975.
okay.
I was working with Beefheart on a tour. Don said, "That's Fred Frith." He had given me his album, and he says, "You'd probably, you know, like to talk to him." So I went over and I talked to him, and he had all these pedals laid out on
Right.
the stage, and he was very intense on showing me what effects this did and
Mm,
what effect that did, and so on. So we hit it off pretty well, and apparently he really liked my drumming. He didn't tell me that day.
okay.
He really liked my drumming and felt like he could play bass to my drumming really well. So Fred, or Henry arranged for Fred and Richard Thompson and Henry and myself to do an album called French Frith Kaiser Thompson.
Mm,
And your name's first.
there you
We're
go.
doing it alphabetically. So I went, as it should be,
There you go.
kidding. Uh, but Fred was doing a show at McCabe's Guitar Shop, which is in Santa Monica. It's rare guitars,
Mm,
really rare guitars. But they have a little concert room in the back. I don't know. It seats maybe 75 people. I don't know.
okay.
Something like that. So he was doing the show. So Henry talked him into letting us come up and play a few things,
Yeah.
to kind of get warmed up together. So I went in. Now, Richard Thompson lived in Santa Monica, which is right near there,
Okay.
McCabe's, and so he was sitting on a stool when I came in. That's how I met him. And Henry says, "Yeah, this is Richard Thompson, John French." So he shook my hand,
Mm,
and he's just sitting there with this big grin on his face,
that's funny.
and he wouldn't let go of my hand. He kept holding on to it, just like he was savoring the moment.
Ah,
And I started to back off, and then I realized, well, he wants to savor the moment, I guess.
mm,
But he and I hit it off really well. And I remember he was wearing red plaid pants.
mm.
And I said, "I used to have a pair of pants like those." And he says, "They're coming back."
Yeah, it's funny.
But he was I didn't know, really, I didn't know him from Adam at the time. And I was kind of embarrassed to tell anybody that I hadn't heard of him. And it turned out that when in 1968 we had gone to Rome
Right.
with the Magic Band to play the Rome Pop Festival. And later on, I saw footage of it, and he was in the audience
Oh
and
my
had
gosh.
played
I
there.
talk about that.
Yeah.
Man,
And
that is a
they were asking him questions. Of course, he was like 20 years younger. So I'm looking and I'm going, "Who is that?" And then
mm,
I realized I know that guy. Oh, it's Richard.
mm,
So I sent him the footage. I sent him a little piece of it, that I
yeah.
took. And so we had crossed paths, even though we hadn't actually met. He was still with Fairport Convention then.
Right.
So anyway, we
That.
got together and did this album. And I thought it was going to be a Richard Thompson album. And we were just playing on it.
Okay.
So I hadn't prepared any music at all. And they said, "No, it's a collaboration. We're all going to, do two or three songs, I think." And I didn't have, anything prepared. So I wound up singing Same Thing. And which is a Muddy Waters piece.
Okay.
You might be familiar with it. And then I put lyrics to this thing that Bob Adams, who I'd mentioned before,
You're right.
CBA, he had written this thing that was kind of almost like a Latin samba-ish kind of piece. So I had written lyrics that fit that perfectly, so I sang them over that. And then I worked with Fred on one of his pieces and helped him finish it because he was like writer's block. He couldn't figure out how to finish it. He told me what he had. So I went out in the other room and just jotted down some stuff. And he goes, yeah, that'll work. So I got credit on that. But the interesting thing is that we recorded everything live. We were
Oh, in the studio live? Like, wow, that's neat.
The only thing that was overdubbed was there was a piece called, which is my favorite piece on the first album. It's called "A Bird in God's Garden."
Mm.
And it's based on a Muslim poem because Richard Thompson is Muslim,
Right, I heard about that. Right.
and I think it's Sunni. I'm
Mm.
not sure. I'm not sure of this sect. So uh, if I'm wrong, I'm sure I'll get letters.
Uh,
Lots of letters.
oh yeah, tons of them.
uh, anyway, I am a bird in God's garden, and I do not belong to this dusty world. In a day or two, they have dropped me off in this cage of my own body, but he who brought me here will take me back again. It's beautiful.
Mm.
Anyway, it was just Richard and Fred and I in the studio, and we did the basic track for
Okay.
that. Henry laid out of that, and it turned out to be, I think, the best piece on the album.
I got to hear that again.
Yeah, listen to it. Yeah,
I'm gonna.
it's it's I think it was the most creative and the most natural thing that we did.
Mm.
It just came together so perfectly, and it sort of was the best of all of us, you know.
Oh, okay.
And I sang harmony with him on it, which was really hard because he's got completely different sense of phrasing than I do. So I had to listen to it over and
Mm.
over to get down the phrasing so that I could duplicate what he did.
They seem like such different players too, to bring those two guys together, Fred Frith and Richard. I've seen Richard Thompson a number of times, and it's such a pairing that's nobody would
Well,
think about that, you know?
there's an interesting story about, when those guys met, they met at McCabe's for the first time. So, I met Richard for the first time, so did Fred. So I went up in the dressing room, and there's guitars all over the place up there. So they got a couple acoustic guitars and just sat for like an hour playing all kinds of music that they both knew.
Oh, wow.
I'm talking about surf music, old rock and roll, you name it, and they were playing it. And both of them were just smiling like crazy the whole time. And it was like a concert to me. I just sat back and watched
Oh man.
because
Too bad you
it
didn't
was
tape
just
that, right?
amazing. Huh?
Too bad you didn't tape that, right?
Oh, God, yeah. I wish
Imagine
we
that.
had. I wish we had because it was so enjoyable. And also another thing that would happen was when we were doing the album, we were all staying at Henry's house. He had a pretty big house, and we were all staying there. And Richard would come in the night after we had dinner. He
Right.
would go in the living room and grab a guitar, and he'd just like do a concert for us. He'd do 4 or 5 songs, and it was just amazing how great a musician he was.
Oh, A little short story. During COVID, he lives in New Jersey, where I live, and
Oh,
so
okay.
there was no shows, nothing. And then there's a city called Woodbridge where they were having outdoor, shows for free. Well, he
Right.
came down, and there was a cancellation, and Richard Thompson did the show, and it
Oh,
was
okay.
dazzling. Oh, just incredible.
Oh, yeah. He's one of those guys. Um, I've got a story from the second album about that too. But before I say that,
Sure.
I just have to say that I was completely blown away by Fred also.
Okay.
And I consider Fred to be one of the only geniuses I've ever been around.
Hmm.
He not only could he read music like that, he could read it, he could sight read anything, but he also spoke four languages fluently.
Holy smoke. Didn't
So
know that.
he spoke, he's from England.
Yeah. Right.
So, of course, English was his native tongue. He also spoke French, fluid. I heard him on the
Hmm.
phone fluently talking to someone. And then he called up this guy in Germany and was talking German. And I'm going, Jesus.
Wow.
And then after that, he was on the phone again to Japan speaking Japanese.
No kidding. Oh my gosh.
And he did a lot of work in Japan later.
Okay.
And so that was the first album. And, I
That's
was
something.
constantly doing double takes with Fred because every time I saw him, he was speaking a different language.
Oh my gosh.
It was pretty
See,
amazing.
I didn't know that. That's quite a story there.
Yeah, he was pretty amazing.
So how did the second record go with these guys?
Well, the second record was more, it was less live. You know, we weren't in the studio all at the same time as much. And I found that to be a bit tedious because, some of the stuff we were doing, I really needed to have a reference to know what I was doing.
Hmm.
And there was one piece that uh, Fred did a metronome setting that was at a different speed than the song. It was like one and two and three and four and one and two and three. It was sort of a I don't know, it was three over four
Hmm.
kind of thing. And he had me play to that
Oh, that's
without
difficult.
listening to the music. I
Oh
just had,
man.
and I had memorized the music uh, and was playing to it, but he wanted me to play in a different tempo to the music. I can't remember what song it was. I'd have to look it up. But uh, it was pretty amazing uh, to hear it together because it sounded like uh, it actually sounded like I was playing to
Oh, okay.
it.
Oh, that's pretty
I'm
neat.
going, I
Yeah.
wasn't listening to it, but it sounds like I was playing to it.
That
So
sounds like got that together quick though, considering it seemed like a difficult tempo there.
yeah, yeah, it
Man
was
alive.
the hardest stuff for me was Henry because Henry had a couple of things that he did on synclavier, which
I
is
remember that. Yep.
yeah. And one of them he kept, he had me in the studio and he's saying, "Okay, I want less information here," and he was talking to me like he was talking to the synclavier,
No, that's funny.
and it was really hard for me to relate to what he was saying, but we got it, and the end product turned out to be a good thing. But I really wouldn't want to go through that again.
Man.
That was an uncomfortable studio experience for me doing
Did
that.
did you guys play any live shows with this group
Yeah,
at all?
both times. The first the first time we played together, we went up to this little college town. And for the life of me, I can't remember. It was about an hour's drive out of Oakland, where
All
he
right.
lived. Montclair is actually where he lived, just above Oakland.
Mm.
But anyway, we went out to this college town, and it was a barn.
Mm.
And this lady managed it. It was her little concert arena, and had a little tiny stage, and people would come in. There was a little snack bar, but the whole inside of the barn was covered with spider webs. The
Oh,
whole
that's
thing. I mean,
amazing.
it's just like everywhere. And we were playing, uh, the songs from the first album.
Well, I would have loved to have seen that. Wow.
It was a lot of fun. And the funny thing is, we got there really early, so it was a beautiful day. So the two English guys taught me how to play cricket. I didn't know how to play cricket, but they had a cricket bat, and you have to
Yeah.
pitch the ball with a straight arm.
Okay. All right.
Yes, there's something. Fred was doing it, and I thought, boy, he doesn't know how to throw very well.
Mm.
He said, no, this is the way you got to do it, with a straight arm. But anyway, we were out in this field, beautiful
Mm.
farm country, We were out in this field playing cricket for about an hour
Wow, it is
and a half.
really neat.
Yeah,
That's something.
we got to know each other pretty well. So it was a really good experience. And we did one of my songs. It was an instrumental called "Disposable Thoughts,"
Mm.
and it was a Trout Mask type of song. So
Okay.
it was kind of difficult to play.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, the very last note, we all stopped except for Richard, and he went pink.
Oh, that's something.
He thought it went a little longer, and Fred just burst out laughing.
It's a shame you didn't record that show. That must have been really interesting to hear.
Yeah, we didn't. I don't think
Hmm.
uh, it was a small venue, and they didn't have much. The second time we got together, like I said, the equipment was. I mean, we rehearsed for a week. We went and did a show, and then we went right in the studio right after that. So
Okay.
it was sort of like a preparation, you know, a test run, and then go in the studio. And we did that with both albums. Uh,
Okay. Oh,
so the second one, like I said, it was more separated, but we played at a place before we went in Oakland called Ashkenaz, which is a Jewish word,
okay.
something to do with a tribe or something. I'm not sure. Um, anyway, it was a dance studio during the day, and then at night on the weekends they had concerts. You know, so it had all these mirrors on the walls and the poles and all that, and they'd put the chairs on the dance floor area, and that's where we played our second concert. And the funny thing was, is that we got up on stage to start playing, and they said, why don't you go out and do a little drum solo just to warm up? And so I had a whole string of very odd parts that I put together. So
Okay.
I played it. I played those, and then the guys came out. Richard grabs, grabs his guitar and he starts playing this song, and I'm going, "The hell's he playing?" I didn't know what he was playing because there wasn't anything we'd rehearsed. And all of a sudden, he went into Rolling Stones' "Play with Fire."
Okay.
That's the way we
Oh,
started. And I had no idea that we were going to do that at all. I guess they decided to do it backstage. And Henry's the kind of guy that he loves to throw curve balls at you just to see how you're going to react.
No, I'm sure. Yeah. He seems like that type.
Yeah.
He's a character.
Oh, so it was a little funny, but it worked out to be a really, really good time. We had a great time, and it was a good night, and we did record that concert.
Hmm.
So
Oh, you did? Okay.
don't ask me to find it.
Oh, you don't have, that's too
Around here
bad.
somewhere. No, I have a live recording of it on cassette somewhere.
Hmm.
I've only had a cassette player.
Yeah.
But that concert turned out to be pretty good. It was pretty nice. Except we did one song where we hired an opera singer. Uh, it
That
was,
is unusual.
yeah, we hired her for the studio, and it was called the March of the Cosmetic Surgeons.
Oh,
It was
that's great.
it was a song by Richard Thompson, and it starts out, we nip and tuck and we nip and
Oh,
tuck
that's funny.
and we nip and
That
tuck
is
all day.
funny. That is funny. Nip and tuck.
Yeah, and it goes into this part about uh, you know, how the girl owes, her success to Dr. Kriegstein, you know. And Henry at the beginning of it went into the story about it, how he and Richard were driving through Austria,
Hmm.
and they ran out of gas and stopped at this place in Austria, and it happened to be a plastic surgeon's office,
Oh my gosh.
and that's how they met Dr. Kriegstein.
Oh, that's
The whole thing
hysterical.
is BS,
Yeah.
but we had a good time. Henry, like I said, he's really good at throwing curveballs at
Oh,
me.
I'm sure he is. So what?
And so that was kind of a fun introduction. I'm going, what the hell is he going with this?
Are you, are you still in touch with Richard Thompson or Fred Frith? Do you still hear
No,
from these guys?
I think Fred, when he found out that I was a Christian, he kind of, didn't want to be around me anymore. But,
Oh, that's strange.
and it's kind of like you grow apart too.
Yes, I
You
agree.
know,
If that
people
happens.
grow apart. You don't
Yep.
really, unfortunately, you don't have time for all the people that you'd like to have time for in your life.
Right. I
So
agree.
it could be that too, and maybe I'm just being paranoid about that. But he
No,
kind
he's
of,
really busy.
he kind of looked at me when I said, "Yeah, I'm a Christian and I believe this," and then he kind of looked at me like, "You're out of your mind," you know, which is, you get the King Kong look from a lot of people,
Well, unfortunately, religion gets people really hyper and upset. But I don't look at people like that. I don't ask people about their religion and their politics because it's a messy thing. When people
And it is
people
a
get
mess.
people get very emotional over this stuff, and I don't.
Sure, sure, yeah. I've mentioned a couple of things, like I told that story about the freeway and the lamp
Yeah.
and the big light, and I had people say, "Well, surely you must have seen it out of the corner of your eye." Well, I didn't see it at all until it hit the road, you know, Jack.
No, you had your subconscious or your guardian angel, whatever that was, came into your mind and said, John, you're not ready to go yet, or your wife or your child.
Yeah.
You need to get in that other lane.
And
So
besides that, you don't have enough insurance.
there
So
you go.
move me over.
So what
Okay.
about the 1990s? You did some records then. Any stand out?
Oh boy.
There's a lot of records, right? A lot of work.
Well, I'm trying to think what I did in the 90s.
Invisible Means, Waiting on the Flame, old solo
Oh yeah,
drum.
yeah, yeah. Invisible Means. Well, that was the French Frith Kaiser. That was the second album. That was
Oh, okay. Right.
a
Okay.
funny story about that before we go on.
Sure.
Invisible Means. I was talking about how, you know, you can have these miracles in your life, but I wasn't really saying it. I wasn't being preachy. I was just saying, like, for instance, every time you reach the end of your rope, it lengthens by invisible means.
Okay.
Um, and that was on the second FFKT album,
Okay.
which, if you try to pronounce FFKT, you know what you get.
Oh yeah, I get that. Oh yeah.
Somebody picked it up and saw FFKT and said, fuck it.
Oh, I love it. I
No,
mean,
no, no. But anyway, uh, we were talking about, let's see, Waiting on the Flame. Yeah.
yes.
That was sort of an album that came out of, I had recorded some stuff for a Crazy Backwards Alphabet album,
Okay.
but it really didn't fit the album. So Henry says, maybe you ought to do some more songs and just put together, an album, you know. So I wrote some more songs
Mm.
and put it together. And then he helped me mix it. And that came out on Demon Records. Yeah, it was Demon Records.
Okay.
Now imagine being a Christian and your first solo album comes out on Demon
Now
Records.
that is really wild. That is something.
Well, what's funny is what my fellow Christians thought of that. And I said, well,
Oh man.
you know, the old story about Jesus, uh, hanging out with the drunkards and he
Yeah.
said, well, it's not the well who need a physician, it's the sick who need a physician. So
Mm.
he said, you'll probably, I said, I'll probably reach more people on that than I did. I didn't sell worth a darn because, I just, I don't have that much of a name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
And
Go ahead.
so do you want to talk about the City of Refuge record? I mean, that's really good record. I mean, any
Thank you.
thoughts on that?
Yeah. You're rushing me through this, aren't
No,
you?
go ahead. No, keep going.
No,
The 90s. What else?
are we
What?
getting out of time here?
No, no, keep going. What do you have
Oh,
in the?
okay. Okay.
No, no. What do you have in the
Uh,
90s still?
City
Keep
of
going.
Refuge. Well, in 2003, I got reformed the Magic Band and I sang for it, you know, right?
All right.
How about that? So I was trying to get a good booking agent because there there were some booking agents who could have gotten us better gigs. But they weren't interested in the band because they considered us a tribute group. And I said, well, everybody in the
Mm,
group is from the original Magic Band. Everybody
mm,
played the original Magic Band. But that wasn't working.
okay.
So they said, you need new material. So I thought, well, I could, because of the fact that I wrote and was involved in so much of Don's material on Trout Mask Replica and also on Bad Chain Puller.
All right.
I thought, well, maybe I could, and since I'm already singing in that style, I could come up with, a dozen songs that could be incorporated. I could put a couple of them in the Magic Band show,
Mm,
and this would give us original material.
right.
And unfortunately, the guys sort of looked at it as like I was trying to take over things.
Ah, that's too
It
bad.
was, it was sort of, I got the feeling, well, one guy said, well, this is going to be a lot of work. And one of the other guys said, well, I'm open to it, but, he was sort of reluctant. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll just get different people to record it.
Right.
So that's when I wound up getting Greg Davidson, who had, worked with Don during the Nebworth tour era in
Right.
1975. And I got Bill Harkleroad, um, because, he's like, who doesn't know who Bill is?
Yeah, everybody knows Bill.
Yeah. So I got Bill, and Mark played on one piece as a guest artist, and then I got John Thomas, who was the keyboardist on Bat Chain Puller, to play the bass
Mm,
parts on the other stuff. I'm
okay.
sitting in front of a keyboard, so if you see me doing that, that's why. Um, anyway, um, it seemed to just flow out of me, and I felt like it was good material.
Mm.
And so, as a matter of fact, one of the songs is something that I wish Don would have finished. All he ever did with this, it was called Maybe That'll Teach You.
Right.
And all he did was sing, Maybe That'll Teach You, Go Home, Go Home. That's all he sang. And then he played a lot of harmonica and just improvised on it. And I thought, God, this is really, could be a great song. Well, I turned it into a song for that album. So
Okay.
that song came as sort of an idea that I got from Don. Um, I think all the rest of the stuff was mine. One was based on a coal mine, um, where these guys got trapped in a coal mine.
Mm.
And this happened in the early 2000s. And so I wrote a song about that because, boy, those guys really, really have to deal with some rough
Yeah, I
circumstances.
can imagine. That's a hell of a thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Uh, and, you're walking around all day bent over,
Yeah,
you know.
man.
They're actually opening some of those coal mines up and making I mean, underground cities and parks.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty interesting. They've actually opened them up
Wow.
and they carved them out so they're a little higher. They put lighting in and they put, I guess it's artificial turf
Mm.
and this kind of and benches and stuff. And people can go for walks down there.
That's pretty neat. And I know Washington, D.C., I'm sure some major problem happens. They can all go underground in a city or wherever they go, to protect the president and all these other politicians.
Yeah, I've heard that they have whole underground complexes all
Mm.
across the U.S.
Yeah.
that are
Bases.
interconnected.
Yep. So you guys played live, right? This particular band, did you guys do a lot of shows?
You guys, meaning the
Well, the
Magic Band?
Magic Band.
Oh yeah, yeah, that went on from 2003 till 2017, and
Okay.
and mostly we played in England because that was where Don really had most of his popularity. But we did get to go into Europe a couple of times, which was kind of fun. I keep remembering Heerlen, Holland.
Yeah.
One of my favorite places that we played. Um, and the band, it changed the whole time. I mean, it started out with Denny Wally, Gary Lucas, Mark Boston, and Robert Williams on drums.
Right.
And and but Robert Williams didn't last long because
Mm.
yeah, I won't go into detail except to say that he really clashed with the promoter bad.
Oh, okay.
And I thought if we're going to have a relationship with this promoter, he told us, he said, I will not work with that guy. That's what he
Hmm.
said. So I got another guy named Michael Trailer who had only rehearsed with Don a couple of times,
Okay.
but he was familiar with the material and he did a good job. He did a really good job and he was very steady tempo wise, really a good guy. Plus, he was the only Christian. So
Oh, okay.
he and I would hang out together,
Right.
because
Yeah.
we could talk about stuff that I couldn't mention to the other guys.
Mm. Well, so your big following was in what? England and
Mostly
Italy?
England. Yeah.
Okay. I figured
Uh,
that.
pardon?
I would think that would be a big following for you guys at that
Yeah.
country.
Well, there's YouTube videos
No, no.
available of the Magic Band playing. And I think, I should mention this.
Sure.
I'm going to put out two live shows that I really worked hard on mixing that have really high sound quality. One is from Chelsea Under the Bridge in Islington, which is just on the outskirts of London.
Okay.
And the other one is Liverpool Philharmonic.
Oh, that's a nice place. Sounds like a great place.
Yeah, and it had really good sound. So all the I what I did for that one, it was the only time I ever did that. I hired four horn players
Hmm.
and three backup singers, not for the whole show, but for let's see, there were eight songs with horn players, and five of those also had backup singers.
Okay.
So that was kind of fun. That was 2017. So I'm going to release the 2015 and the 2017 show on Bandcamp real soon. And also, I because my equipment, I upgraded my equipment. I cannot get it to talk to itself.
Okay.
Um, the digital clock in my mixer will not be compatible with my very expensive computer that I bought.
Oh,
And so, and I've had a couple of techs here, and
right.
none of them could figure out what was going on with it. And I figure it might be because the mixer is an English mixer, and maybe because of the voltage difference
Right.
or something, it's just incompatible. But anyway, I'm putting out my own original album, and I think I'm going to call it Better Than Nothing.
I like that title. That's good. That's good.
Because it's just, it's, you know, I really wanted to polish it off a little bit more, but the mixes are pretty much done. So I'm just going to put it out as is, Better Than Nothing.
That's good. And then were those from like the soundboard? I know some people
Yeah,
get like good with that was good. Yeah, because you get the best quality from that.
right. These are actual digital uh, multi-track recordings. So the trouble is with most board recordings is they they kind of mix it together,
Okay.
and you get a lot of the room sound and stuff, and you don't get a very good sound. Like the very last show that the Magic Band did was in Colchester, which is a little town where Humpty Dumpty was born, actually. Humpty
Okay.
Dumpty was a cannon. Did you know
Was
that?
it? I didn't know that.
It was a cannon, and they
Huh.
hit it, and they used to keep the horses there
Right.
for the king's army. So, and Humpty Dumpty was a cannon. They had it sitting up on this embankment, and it fell, and it broke the cannon. And
Hmm.
all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again.
That is, and
But it was a cannon.
I never knew that. And what
Yeah,
period was
look it
that?
up.
I'm going to look it up. Was that the 1700s or 1800s?
I don't know, but if you look up Humpty Dumpty, you'll find the story.
Oh, that is great. Everybody
Yeah, it's
wanted
kind
him
of a
back.
nice little piece of trivia that the guys told me.
Huh.
But anyway, they gave me a board tape from that night,
Hmm.
and it was just a stereo mix, you know. It wasn't multi-tracks. And
Okay.
I didn't do anything with it because there was one tom that every time the drummer hit that tom, it completely engulfed the whole thing.
Okay.
Couldn't
All
hear
right.
anything else. So what they needed was a couple of room mics. If they would have had room mics, you might have gotten a decent sound. But as it was, we couldn't use it.
Well,
Uh,
you got fans out there who probably will listen to it anyway if they're real Beefheart fans. If you're a fan, you want to hear everything you can about the group, even any type of live recordings.
yeah, I don't know. I hate to release anything that sounds that bad.
Right. Well, that's true. You don't want that.
And it was
No.
our last show.
Yeah.
Our last show was Colchester, and
Mm,
uh, after that we came back to the States, and that was in 2017. So
okay.
that's why I ended that. I felt like at that point I was the only original member who had actually worked with Don.
Oh, okay.
And even though we were still in demand, as a matter of fact, I thought about, doing a 2019 50th anniversary of Trout Mask Replica tour. And I got a booking agent, contacted this guy. He booked us
Mm,
for a fall tour within 2 weeks, which is really fast.
yeah.
Higher prices than we'd ever had. So even though it wasn't original members, we were still in demand, you know.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I but the problem is that the keyboardist couldn't make it, so we would have had to go into 2020, and guess what happened
Yeah.
in
Oh, yeah. We all know that.
yeah. So
Ex
I reneged on it. I said, I don't want to deal with it. But anyway, that's sort of the end of that, how it went down. And people kept telling me, that, you're gonna come back. You'll
mm,
play. But here's what happened to me.
okay.
Uh, from sitting in a van all the time and then immediately having to get out of a van and load in heavy equipment,
Mm,
I was getting a lot of joint pain. So I started taking a leave, which is like a naproxen.
right.
I started taking two Aleve a day, and I take a bunch of supplements, so I just would put it in with my supplements, and I was taking it all the time,
Mm.
not realizing that it was trashing my kidneys.
Ooh.
So now
Oh, boy.
I've got chronic kidney disease, and my energy is like really low. So
Oh,
uh, usually at this time of the day, I'm already taking a nap. You
oh, man. Sorry to
know?
hear that.
Yeah, and besides that, and then my recording gear going down,
Oh,
I've just sort of my wife said one night, she said, you're handling it pretty well. She said, I can't imagine what you're going through, not being able to have the outlet of the
yeah.
recording. And I said, yeah, it's heartbreaking because I've gotten some of the best ideas I've ever had
Mm,
in recent years. Since I got done mixing all this other stuff
you're right.
I'd done, uh, my mind just got really creative, and I couldn't get the equipment to work, even with calling in techs to look at it.
Oh,
Still
I'm
can't.
sorry to hear that. So what's your work with Jeff Cotton? I had an interview with him and he's telling me that you're going to be playing on his next record?
No,
No?
I was going to try. Um, I'd have to use my own gear,
Okay.
and if I use my own gear, I got to use my own recording equipment, and I don't have it. So
Oh, sorry to hear that.
as much as I wanted to do that,
Hmm.
I was really looking forward to it. And some of the stuff that he sent me, I really liked. And I thought, hey, this would be fun to do. And I even sat down with my scratchy system that sounds horrible and put on the headphones, just kind of played along to a few things. And I thought, yeah, this could work and this could work. So I had the basics of it, but
Hmm.
no recording equipment. He says, well, I could fly over and you could record on my equipment. I said, I'm not in shape, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's going to come across.
Oh, it's too bad.
It was hard for me to have to admit that, this thing happened to me and
Yeah.
my energy, went away. Um, but I saw, shortly before Ozzy died, he was giving an interview where he was talking about how I can't walk
Hmm.
and all this stuff. And I thought, well, he's being honest about this. So I should just be honest because people are probably, there's a few people I'm sure who are curious about why I'm not doing anything right now
Yeah.
or not producing anything.
I want to thank you for being
That's-
honest about this. I really do.
Sure. Yeah.
It's really nice of you to tell people, what's really going on. Because, people get these ideas that you don't want to play anymore or, whatever it
Oh,
is.
no. Quite the contrary. Uh, and, the Magic Band, I really enjoyed it. I really did. And it was kind of, the first guys, Gary Lucas, Denny Wally, and Mark, it was great.
Mm.
Uh, but I was able to do more. Do you need to do something?
No, I just had to look a second. Thought somebody at the
Oh, okay.
door there. Thought it was some like postman or hitting the door. I hope it didn't bother the taping. Go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. Well, I found out that I was able to do some of the more challenging stuff with the newer guys. So that was good. Dr. Dark was one of the tunes that I always wanted to do. A couple of other things from Lick Mighty Cows and something else from Trout Mask that I wanted to do. Um, Hobo Changba.
Oh,
I
okay.
wanted to do that. So it was kind of nice to be able to do different songs,
Yeah.
different material. Don never liked calling any of the material songs. He
Oh
always
no, you didn't want to call them songs?
compositions. They were
Oh boy,
compositions. This composition is called,
compositions.
yeah, uh, Neon Me Dream of an Octavish. No, Pear Pie. If you listen to the album, you'll hear him say that.
Right. I got to ask you about the book, though. I mean, it's just an
Oh, sure. Yeah.
incredible book. What inspired you to? I mean, it's such an incredible book. I mean, 600 plus pages. I mean, when did you just start writing that?
Well, what happened was in the late 90s, a guy named Dean Blackwood approached me to do, like a 40-page booklet for a CD compilation of Beefheart material that he was putting together.
Okay.
And so I said, well, I'd have to interview people. Now, this is back when you still had to pay for long distance calls.
Oh, okay.
So I said, well, I'll pay for all the calls, because people are spread out all over the place. So I got, a phone set up to where I could, record people directly to the phone as I was talking to them,
Okay. That's
which I found out was the best way to do it because
mm,
otherwise you can't. When you're listening, if you got a recorder going and the guy's in the room and you got ambient noise,
yeah.
all kinds of crap.
Mm,
Excuse me.
that's all right.
Um, so anyway, that's how I started. Well, I wound up with 300 pages of interviews.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
And Dean Blackwood, I used, this much, 5% in this little booklet that I wrote.
Mm,
And I sent it to him. And he said, man, this is great. He said, I changed a couple of things, but pretty much left it the way he wrote it. He said, you should write a book, seriously.
mm,
And I said, well, I've got enough material with 300 pages of interviews because what I didn't want to do
mm,
is write a book based on my memory. I
okay.
wanted it to be everybody's memories and my sort of interspersed in my memoirs, my
Got
thought.
it.
So they would reinforce me and I would reinforce them. In plain words, it wasn't just my opinion, it was a group opinion, you
Got
know.
it. Mm,
Um, and the hardest part was I started writing my memoirs, and I said, well, how am I going to figure out where all this stuff goes?
Yeah.
So I went back because I had 300 pages
Mm.
of memoirs and I had almost 500, no, 500 pages of memoirs and almost 300 pages of interviews.
Mm.
So I go, God, how am I going to compile this?
Yeah.
And so what I did was I took the interview outlines, the memoir outlines of each chapter, and I inserted um, where I thought everything fit timeline wise from the interviews. And then I took that
Mm.
and opened up the chapter with my memoir and started inserting it in.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah.
And I had to go back and, make sure it was consistent and it worked. I proofread it like 3 times. That's a lot of proofreading.
Oh my gosh. Wow. With a book that size?
864 pages.
Man.
So I tried to do as good a job as I could. And there were some things that were mistakes that I didn't realize until later, but I got most of it pretty much done. And then somebody said, "Oh, you got to talk about the music."
Mm.
I'm going, "Oh, Bill already talked about the music
Mm.
in Lunar
Yeah.
Nodes, right?" But anyway, so I bought the CDs of everything
Okay.
because CDs are the best way because you can stop and start them.
Right.
You can reference them minute and second. So I got the CDs and I sat and listened to them. And this was late 90s, I guess, when I was doing this, early 2000. And I started singing along with them a little bit. And I went, wow, I could sing this stuff. And that's
Mm.
what gave me the idea to reform the Magic Band.
Oh, how about I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was,
now that's something.
yeah, because, doing an instrumental version of all those songs would be tough. But, if you have the vocals, even if they aren't, I'm not the singer Don was for sure,
Yeah.
but I can, what do you mean? Yeah. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Okay. Nothing.
Uh, anyway, I, I thought having the lyrics there is better than trying to do instrumental tracks. So we did some instrumental things, some of the more complex stuff like Hair Pie and that kind of stuff. And then I went up and started singing, and so I would play drums on a few things because it was sort of obligatory since I'm Drumbo
Yeah.
to play drum.
Right.
But I think the shows, people seem to enjoy it. And at first it was like, well, where's the beef? People kept saying that.
Right.
And John Peel had us on at Maida Vale on
Oh, okay.
his show. And when we did Maida Vale, it was like stamp of approval.
Hmm.
John Peel likes him, you know.
He was the man back then.
He was.
He
And
was the guy.
I had just gotten back in touch with him in what year was that? 2004, I think. And he died that fall, just
Hmm.
a few months after we got reacquainted. And I'll tell you what, that hit me so hard. I could not
Oh,
believe how hard it would hit me.
oh, I'm sorry.
When my mother died, I was sad. But this, for some reason, I was really stricken with grief
Hmm.
for like 3 or 4 days. I just kind of couldn't be around people at all. Uh, and I think part of it was because it kind of symbolized, my past.
Yeah.
And he had, what's the word I want to use? He had put the stamp of approval on me coming back and renewing the interest in the music. And then all of a sudden he's gone.
Hmm.
And I guess what happened was he had gone to Machu Picchu,
Yeah. Oh.
one of those places, that's really high elevation. And they called him in for dinner. And when he stood up, he just fell over and his heart,
Ugh.
you know. And I
So
don't
that was a
go there and see that
that was a
place.
sudden death, right? Is that what
Yeah,
happened?
it
Oh.
was a very sudden death. And I was so sad. And, a friend, Elaine Shepard, who actually produced the artist formerly known as Captain Beefheart. Have you ever seen that?
Oh yeah, that's right. I've seen that.
BBT.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen it in a while, but yeah, I did see that.
She said, why don't you call John Peel? And I was afraid to. I thought, oh, he probably wouldn't even remember me, because I hadn't seen him since 1968.
Mm,
And here, what is that? 32 years
yeah.
later. But well, 35 years. And I called him, and when he answered the phone, I immediately recognized his voice.
Mm,
He's got a really great DJ voice, or he had.
yeah.
I still think of him as alive. But anyway, uh, he was saying that he was worried about the creek because
Mm,
they were having really heavy rainfall and he was afraid his house was going to be flooded.
okay.
And he had arranged at that point to have, he could transmit from his house. He didn't have to go anywhere. So, and the one thing that I really, really, I just regret totally is that the day before we played Maida Vale, he wanted to get together with me, and I already promised somebody else to spend time with him.
Oh,
But he wanted to get together with me that
yeah.
day and have lunch or something. I didn't do it, and he never got another chance.
Oh, man.
But God, it was
Yeah.
great. It was great to see him, and we had, I just loved John. He was a great guy.
If he was like kind of like the Johnny Carson of radio, if you got your approval from John Peel, you were solid.
Exactly.
People that got on Carson, comedians, everybody, they became famous after that if he approved it.
Right.
It's like the
And he
similar.
had the pirate radio station for a while.
Okay.
When I first met him, he had the pirate radio station and had just come. I think he had just gotten off of they had a boat and they would go out and sail outside of restricted water and do
Ah,
pirate radio because they could play stuff that BBC wouldn't allow them to play.
okay.
And finally, he was accepted and he came back and was playing. But
I never knew that.
he was like the Johnny Carson of
Yeah, he was.
in
I
fact,
mean,
that's
there's
what
nobody like
Elaine
him.
said. What
Yep.
Elaine Shepard said when she met him,
Jeez.
or when she was describing him to me.
Hmm. So what's going to be you said some of these live recordings are coming out. Is there anything else your fans want to know, like 2026, any other recordings or anything you're possibly going to work on if you can get everything fixed?
Man, if I could get this stuff fixed,
Oh,
you know,
man.
I would probably spend 3 to 4 hours a day in the studio working on music, maybe more. Because I mean, I used to be so energized. I'd come out here and sit down, and I had this wonderful recording setup, multi-track setting, and I could do, and I had it pretty much down. And then I had to upgrade my equipment.
Hmm.
If I would have still had the equipment that I had before, I even tried going back and having that equipment fixed, but I couldn't get it to work together.
Oh,
But
there's got to be somebody out there who can help you, I hope.
yeah, there might be, but I don't really have any plans.
Okay.
Um, I'm just taking it every day as it comes.
Yeah.
It's sort of been an interesting philosophical time for me because,
Hmm.
people get so caught up in their identity.
Well,
Okay,
especially
I'm
now,
Drumbo. I'm Drumbo,
Yeah.
right? So you got to be doing Drumbo things. And I thought, well, Not really.
No.
I did that for years. I was with Captain Beefheart on and off for for I don't know, 12 years, something. What was 66? I was in and out of the band for 14 years. From
Hmm. That's a long time.
66 to 80, you
Hmm.
know. And I worked with the original band, I worked with an intermediate band in between, and then I worked with some of the last players that he
Wow.
worked.
I didn't realize you were in the band that long.
Yeah, I
With
was in and out though, because I had to take vacations from Don.
I'm sure you did.
He was tough to work with.
I'm sure he must have been. But your legacy is there. Anybody I mention Captain Beefheart, it's a big smile comes to people's faces. Even
Sure.
when I'm talking to you, and it's such a honor for you to talk to me here because I've got a lot of Beefheart fans out there who love your
Well,
music.
I'm honored, the honor is all mine. It's been, I don't know if I'm going to do any more interviews. I don't know if I'm going to be involved in music anymore.
Oh boy.
Uh, this
No.
may be my last interview. I don't know.
Oh my
And
gosh.
if by chance, and I've seen miracles before, like I said, if by chance my health improves, you know, I don't know what I might do.
Yeah.
We'll see what
Well,
happens.
you take a day at a time, it's all you can do in this world. This world is so crazy now with so much social media and phones, and people are like so distracted. It's just crazy world we live in.
Yeah, it is.
I feel sorry for these young musicians. I don't know how they get to be, push their music ahead with so much out there. What do you think about that? What do you think of these
Well,
young
Gene
musicians?
Simmons was talking about that. The bass player for Kiss.
Right, I know.
Uh, and he was saying that he said the music industry is dead.
It
So
is.
there's
I agree.
really not much you can do now unless you're Taylor Swift.
That's true.
It's hard to believe that she's a billionaire she made $1 billion. I think that was gross income, but um, one thing I like about her though, she donates a lot of money to charity.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Every town she goes into, and I mean, she's a huge success
Oh, yeah.
financially. She gives a lot of money to homeless shelters and, tries to do the right thing, and good for her.
Yeah.
Um, I can't say I've ever heard anything she's
Yeah, I don't know one song by Taylor Swift.
I
I don't
don't,
know one song.
but I probably should listen. My daughter likes her,
Yeah.
but she's, a lot younger than me, so
Hmm.
maybe that's it. But um, she seems like an okay person, and I wish her the best in her life. A lot of
Oh,
people,
well,
she's engaged now into that
that,
Travis
yeah,
Kelce
that football
thing.
player. Yeah.
Yeah, and uh, seems like the cute girls always go for the football
They
players.
do. Right. Yeah. You never seen a star athlete without a pretty wife or girlfriend or,
Yeah,
they have the pick of the
yeah.
pack. Hey, look at Derek Jeter. I don't think he ever had a bad looking girlfriend. They're all cute, young. Hey, that's what happens when you have money and fame.
Oh, my girlfriend, my first girlfriend got stolen from me by a lifeguard. So,
Oh my gosh.
you know,
Jeez.
I mean, is that not stereotypical?
Oh man. What were there actual groupies when you guys played in those that period when you guys were
No. Uh,
no?
our audience was 99% male. I mean,
I can see that.
I'd look out and see a sea of gray, and sea of gray beards. Is what
That's
I would
funny.
say.
Well,
And
that's
every now
hysterical.
and then I'd see a girl, and I'd always look for because there was a line that I sang by myself in one of the songs, "Circumstances." There was little girl, don't you know that the stars up above,
Right.
utter love, you know, that line. And I'd always try to pick out a girl, and some nights it was like, is
Where
there
are they, right?
a...
Oh man.
But usually I could find one somewhere, you know.
Yeah,
Just
well,
to,
you've had such experience and fantastic career. And, John, I want to thank you again for doing this. I mean, you've
sure.
been fantastic to talk to you with all these stories, and your life's been blessed. It really has. I feel
Well, I
that.
got to tell you that I've had a great deal of self-control in this interview too.
Have you? Okay.
You know why? Because your cable is twisted. And I kept wanting to say, will you fix that damn cable? Your cable is twisted
Is
right
it?
here. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I see
And for
myself
some,
clear. I
I
see
thought,
I
you
see
know,
myself clear. I don't know what happened.
oh, well, I'm, I have to repress those OCD things in
Okay.
myself all the time. It's like that Monk show where, did you ever see the show Monk?
I haven't seen it. I remember it, but I don't remember watching it.
Well,
I don't know about it.
he was very OCD. And this one time he had to go in and talk to a prisoner, and he picked up, you know, how they have the phone in the glass.
Right.
And he picked up the phone and it's all twisted. He's looking at it.
Oh man. Well, I'll send you the video before this airs. So if you see anything you don't like it or something, so say, "Hey, Dennis, forget about it."
No, I just like to have it for reference.
Sure, I'm going to send it to you before I air it. It's
Okay.
going to be about a week or so because I have to do editing. Now I've gotten better with this. It's been taking a while to figure this YouTube out, but I still haven't figured out how all these people get these thousands upon thousands of subscribers. But I'm not worried about it. I
Ah,
think this series is going to grow over time because speaking to you and keeping your voice alive and other artists, I think it's important.
now you talked to Jeff?
Yes, twice.
Good, good, good.
Jeff, Bill, I've spoken to.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, Bill a while back.
I'm surprised because Bill doesn't usually do interviews
It was
much.
a very short interview, though. He didn't talk too much. It was very brief. What's the next question? Yeah, what's the next? You
Yeah,
know,
he's kind of a you know, that kind of guy. He
yeah.
likes to look at his watch a lot.
And Henry Kaiser was great. I mean, what a character. It was
Yeah, yeah.
fantastic speaking to him.
Did he talk anything about Antarctica?
Oh yeah, he talked about the undersea, diving. I didn't know he was a diver.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
a
that's
great diver.
incredible.
Yeah.
What a story. I never thought, you wouldn't think about it, but he had all these great stories about that.
Did he tell you about how he got down to the water?
He might have. I don't know if I remember that,
Well,
but
they drill a hole down. It's about this big around. Then they drop a bunch of dynamite in the hole.
oh my
Right?
gosh.
Then they light the dynamite and stand back. Then they go up and they've got a hole about this big around.
Oh
Big
my gosh.
person can go down in. They put a tripod over it, lower it down in.
Oh
What happens if you
man.
can't find the hole? He says, you don't want to lose that.
No, no.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how cold that must be. Jumping in that
Well,
water.
they have these special suits. So,
Yeah.
but here's the deal. He sent me uh, video. I'm sorry. Why couldn't I think of that word? He
Yeah.
sent me a video, and I was going to say VCR because that's what it was.
Yeah.
And the water is so clear you can see for hundreds of feet.
Mm,
Usually in salt water, you can't see very far, but this water was absolutely crystalline,
mm.
just beautiful. And he'd go down there and they'd look for life forms and stuff.
That's something. I would never have thought that until I talked to him. I was like, wow, this guy's got another different career he does, that's so
Yeah.
fascinating.
And he can't. The government comes in and checks his computer. He's not allowed to have any social media.
Really?
Yeah, he can't do that. Uh,
Okay.
they, his wife has social media, and sometimes she'll put something that he's doing,
Yeah.
that's music related on there. But it's very secret.
I'm
Hush
sure.
stuff.
Probably those bases underneath the water there in Antarctica. They talk about those bases, UFOs, and all types of stuff under there.
Yeah, I've joked with him about that. I said, so you can't really tell me about the aliens and the alien craft and the
And what
pyramids.
do you say? Nothing, right? Yeah, I bet you're not, right?
But it's fun. I like to prod him about that stuff anyway.
Well, there's a lot of it on YouTube. It's nothing that's secretive now. There's so many theories and conspiracies.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
but
it's all over
most
the
of it's
place.
probably made up.
Right.
I am interested in these hidden villages that they're finding. They're finding cities in the Amazon
That's really amazing.
by using satellite technology.
Okay.
They see patterns and they focus in on it, and they're finding overgrown, deserted cities in the Amazon, Yucatan Peninsula, especially.
Oh, I got to check into
So,
that.
yeah, yeah, look into it.
Good.
Anyway, you probably want to wrap this up.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. I hope you feel better, and I hope you can get back to doing music because we want more
You do.
more Drumbo music coming up in the future. I hope
I'd
so.
like to do that. I'd like to do it.
And I really thank you for your time. I know
All right, Dennis.
it's been
Good talk
great,
to you.
and I'll send that over to you before we decide to put it up.
Okay, yeah, but I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going by my memory, but it seems like everything here was.
It was great. Captain Beefheart's still alive and well.
So, send me a link too.
Yes, I
You
will.
put it online because I can put it on, social media
Okay. But I'll
and
send
get a
it
little
to
bit
you. I'll
more hit.
send it to you like on one of those large transfer links so you can check it out first and give
Oh
your
yeah,
okay.
Dropbox or
Yep.
something.
So, well, John, thank you again and have a
Okay,
great
Dennis.
day. Thanks a lot. Have a good day
All
out
right.
there.